Broilers versus layers. Which one is more profitable? Okay, there we go. From the outside, layer farming looks easier to start and run than a broiler's farm. But practically, a broiler farm, starting and running a broiler farm is much easier than a layer's farm. How does that happen? You need a low cost of investment to start a broiler's farm. For example, you only need feed from day 1 up to week 6, which is day 36. You need a few vaccines and you need a low amount of routine management practices. Unlike a layer's farmer, a layer's farm, which needs a very, very high cost, initial cost of investment to start. You need to feed the birds for 4 months before you see an egg. There is more activities such as there is multiple vaccination programs, there is the beaking, and there are other factors like decloning. Anyway, let us more of concentrate on the business aspect, which is our major interest actually, and which is the major interest of our YouTube channel. If you look at it from a business perspective, actually, a broiler farmer or a broiler farm has got a shorter payback period compared to a layer's farm or a layer's farmer. But a layer's farm has got a better return to investment compared to a broiler's farm. Get the two differences, you know? If you wish to get a higher return to investment, then try layers. But if you wish to get a shorter payback period of your money, then go for broilers. These two entities are like two banks. All of the banks, a layers farmer or a layers farm bank is a bank with $1 million, but then you will withdraw $100 plus something small every day for 1.5 years. That is 18 months in quote. But for a broiler's farm, it's like a bank with $1 million, but then you withdraw $1 million after every 6 weeks plus something small for the cumulative period in the long run compared to a layer's farm. But then you need to rebank or top up your account for a broiler's farm after every 6 weeks with another $1 million. So that is the difference between the two. But then, if you look at it this way, in terms of risk, a broiler's farm has got a lower risk compared to a layer's farm. Within a period of 6 weeks, the number of birds likely to be lost is lower compared to a layer's farm, who is likely to lose more birds within a period of at least 22 weeks. Actually, by the time a layer's farmer's chicks will get to start laying, get to peak laying point, a broiler's farmer would have sold his produce to the market at least 6 times. So, a broiler's farm looks so juicy, but then if you look at it from an angle, a layer's farm is more juicy or juicier, than a broiler's farm. Why? The moment your birds will start laying, that is week 34, that is when there's good laying, 35, 36, up to week 72, the money gotten within that period, or rather the return to investment within that period, is likely to double, triple, or even go 4 times compared to a broiler's farmer who would have sold his chicken or birds at least 7 times or 9 times to that period. For God's sake, I was doing some math before, and I just realized that the maximum profit a broiler's farmer can make in Africa or sub-Saharan Africa, if at all this farmer does not make his own feeds, that is, you don't hatch your own chicks, the maximum profit you can make is $0.2 per bird. So keeping 1,000 birds looks like you have a very huge number of chicken per unit area, and you have, like, you've got a huge number, you've got a huge flock. But if you do the math, within the 6 weeks, your profit is $0.2 times 1,000. That's a fact nobody wants to hear. Most of the broiler farmers operate at diminishing returns. If you draw a production function, when you start, there's that exponential phase whereby there's much return, but then there's that peak where there's much profit, but then there's that point of the graph where the graph, it's as if it wants to start going down, but it's flat. That's why it's called diminishing returns. Your cost of investment is almost equal to or equal to your output, but in real sense you're making a loss since you are not factoring in the opportunity cost, the time taken for you to raise the broilers compared to the time taken to do other things. But broilers can be equally profitable compared to layers. Why? If you make your own feeds, if you hatch your own chicks, believe me, you're good to go. You will make more money. So in a nutshell, what determines the profitability of layers farming and broilers farming is strategy. My friend, nobody will ever tell you this. This is a fact. I'm not here to sell chicks or sell a product, but I'm just here to enlighten you, then I can learn something also from you in return. Practically, or from experience, this thing is about strategy. Look at a broiler farmer who has done the best required routine practices, or rather, he has adhered to the animal rights in terms of laying the broilers. If you're doing cage farming, you have got the right measurements of the cages or cells for hosting the birds, and you give them the optimum conditions. So then this farmer can sell his birds to good outlets that pay well. For example, I can give an example like some chicken inns and the likes. He's likely to make more money than a broiler farmer who will just see someone keeping broilers, you jump into the whole thing, you start keeping broilers because you want to be like somebody, you want to be like Antonio, then you just start keeping the birds. You don't have a ready market. By the time you are selling your birds, you either have a weak market or you have a market that you have to really persuade the buyer. Therefore, you will sell the bird at a lower cost. But it's easier for an impulse farmer. An impulse farmer is someone who will just say, I want to start a layers farm, I want to start a broilers farm. It's easier for an impulse farmer to start a layers farm. Why? You have a whole 4 months to get a market. Number two, if you look at the life shell, a broiler product, that is a slaughtered and dressed bird, has got a shorter life shell compared to an egg, which can stay for up to 4 weeks if the farmer is producing the eggs in a cold season. So this thing is about strategy. If you sit down, do a market survey, then factor in your costs of production, make your own feeds either for broilers or for layers. For broilers, you can go an extra mile, maybe have something like a food joint whereby, like a fast food joint, some fish, chips and chicken, if you have the time. But if you don't have the time, you can just go an extra mile and do even contract farming for broilers is good. So basically, both the two entities are profitable. But a layers farm is profitable in the long run, and a broilers farm is profitable in the short run. A broilers farm has got a shorter payback period, quote unquote, compared to a layers farm, which has got a longer payback period, quote unquote. But a layers farm has got a better return to investment amount compared to a broiler's farm, which has got a slightly lower return to investment compared to a layers. Basically, the two of them are profitable. It's all about the market. Sit down, strategize, go for a better market, and you'll be in business.